Rap Devil happened 7 years ago. Do you feel old yet? The beef that kickstarted my channel, literally. I was working 3 jobs at the time and was able to quit all of them and do YouTube full-time after this. But every few years, I like to check in on both MGK and Eminem to see where they're at in their careers after the effects of the diss tracks. So, here we are. And I know what you're thinking. This guy cannot still be making MGK versus Eminem, Rap Devil versus Killshot videos, can he? And to that I say, I absolutely am. Because rap beefs are my thing. And this has been the biggest rap beef of my entire existence as a content creator. It's also what launched my channel into being able to do this full time. So the majority of my audience is from this beef. And I like to throw them a little nugget every now and again. It's also one of the only beefs that we actually get to see the after effects play out in real time. So in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at Rap Devil 7 years later and seeing how it exactly affected Eminem and his career. And the answers just may surprise you. But first, let me remind you of how exactly we got into this beef in the first place. Starting in 2012, 22-year-old Machine Gun Kelly tweeted this tweet right here about Eminem's 16-year-old daughter, calling her, quote, hot as f***. There was then a reported conversation between MGK and Eminem's team to delete the tweet, and all was squashed. Just kidding, obviously f***ing not.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
In the following years, due to a slow growth, MGK believed as if his career was being halted behind the scenes by Eminem because of this tweet. An example of this is MGK's rumored Shade 45 ban, which is one of the most popular radio stations owned by, coincidentally, Eminem. After finding out that he was supposedly banned from Shade 45, he went on a different rap radio station, Power 106 FM, and expressed his grievances in a freestyle there.
I'm my favorite rapper alive, since my favorite rapper banned me from Shade 45, I wonder.
A while later, in March of 2018, he was featured on the Tech 9 song No Reason and subtly dissed Eminem with the famous "You just rap, you're not God" line.
Popped in on the top charts at the cop card, so remind y'all, you just rap, you're not God.
Which, according to Eminem in this Sway Calloway interview, was the straw that broke the camel's back.
But then when you get on Tech 9's album, and you start sending shots.
In response to the shots on No Reason, a few months later, in August of 2018, Eminem released a surprise album called Kamikaze, in which he directed shots towards MGK on a song called Not Alike.
But you just the wannabe gunner, like you was gonna do something. But next time you don't gotta use Tech 9 if you wanna come at me with a submachine gun.
On the night of the release, MGK is seen listening to the song and celebrating, as we all know what was coming next. Rap Devil! And before we continue forward, this video will be copyright claimed because of some audio snippets, and I play music video visuals as well, and I feel like it kind of takes away from the video to omit those. So, to counteract that, let me tell you about a game. It's fun to play, so what it do? You ain't gotta spend $1, just locking in here the truth. Raid Shadow Legends, yes, ain't nothing better, so do download it now and get to playing and obtaining some proof. I let them gems go. So many modes you pick. The PvP lets you make others from the globe, yo. The dungeon mode so sick, you can control your licks. Create a clan and you can jam with all your bros and friends. Straight beast with it, sick as disease with it. Been spilling so much blood, you know Moses could part the seas with it. AAA graphics unmatched, you know my whole team's winning. It's fun as can be, so don't leave, won't you come be in it? This is not a drill! Raid has partnered with Paramount to bring you guys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes, you can't tell me you don't want to play with Michelangelo. And the best part is you can get him for free in this game. All you gotta do is log in for 7 days from now until November 13th. That's it, free. And he's a legendary champion, but the nunchucks, it's sick. Make sure you start by October 30th or you're gonna miss out. But not only you got Michelangelo, you got Donatello, you got Leonardo, you got Raphael, you got April, and you got Shredder. You can fuse Donatello or you can get the others through limited time events. And if you've never played Raid before and you're like, all right, Ninja Turtles, I'm in. All right, let's do this. Raid's gonna give you a ton of free stuff just for trying it out. You'll get a starter pack with the epic champion Anax from the Undead Hordes, and once you reach level 15, you're gonna get the epic champion Fayne, plus a lot of goodies that come along with these. And when you get in the game within the first 48 hours, you can use any of the following promo codes that I'm about to show you guys. I personally recommend promo code Demon Slayer because of Foul and Foulbeard, and it's a big dude with a beard, and hey, that's me. But any of these promo codes that I'm flashing on the screen will work for the champions that they're coincided with, and again, it's 100% free. And you can do that by scanning the big fat QR code on the screen or clicking that link down there in the description. And again, every single download of this game helps me out a ton. You guys have no idea. So yeah, come join my clan, the Crypt Keepers. I'm about to kick some people out that haven't been really doing some stuff in the last few months. Now let's play this game together, baby. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! Rap Devil gained nearly 14 million views in its first day of release, landing on the #1 spot of YouTube trending for several consecutive days. It's currently sitting at 394 million views, placing it in the top 1,100 most viewed YouTube videos of all time. It even rose all the way up to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. Throughout the track, several disses are made about Eminem's age, his own insecurities about his own music, and the infamous weird beard. Yep. Still not letting him get a pass for that one.
His fucking beard is weird. His fucking beard is weird.
Rap Devil was talked about so much in the following days that when you Googled the term rap, Rap Devil came up over Rap God, which is insane considering Rap God had already amassed over 1 billion views on YouTube. And how did this affect Eminem? Well, to put it simply, It pissed him off. In the 2 weeks leading up to his inevitable response, Eminem did a 4-part docuseries, mostly about his surprise album Kamikaze, as well as some other rap history conversation with Shade 45 radio personality Sway Calloway. But a decent chunk of this interview was Eminem addressing the entire situation with MGK, explaining the several different factors that led to the discrepancy, finishing it off with this.
Now I'm in this fucking weird thing because I'm like, I gotta answer this motherfucker. And every time I do that, it makes that person as irrelevant as people say I am in hip-hop, I make them bigger by getting into this thing where I'm like, I wanna destroy him, but I also don't wanna make him bigger. I'll leave it at that. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do at this point right now.
Well, he did this. Pay attention to the channel because in a couple days I plan to go over Killshot and how it affected MGK's career, because it most certainly did. In the following days to Killshot, MGK would then reply via tweets and several interviews stating that the song was not worth his response.
6 for me, dog.
6 for you?
Killshot was a leg shot. I had a clip ready. I heard Killshot and I put that back in the holster.
And that seemed to be the end of it. Yeah, right. Eminem would go on to finish 2018 on a literal high note by performing his hit song Venom on the 103rd floor of the Empire State Building on Jimmy Kimmel Live. In the following year, leading up to the 1-year anniversary of the beef, Eminem would lend some notable features, including Rainy Days with Boogie.
I promise not to cry crocodile tears if you end up shocked at my lyrics.
Remember the Name with Ed Sheeran and 50 Bang with Conway the Machine.
That was back when I smoked cannabis. Man, but it was tough because I was a fan of his, so it sucked to hand him his ass, but...
And most notably, Homicide with Logic, which officially has gone double platinum.
Getting washed like bathing, young Hova, I know hitters like Yankees.
Kamikaze officially sold around 430,000 units in its first week, opening at #1 on the Billboard 200 charts, making it his 9th consecutive album to do so. And just before the 2019 year would come to a close, Eminem would feature on the song Lord Above with Fat Joe. Remember this song for later on.
I let her chop my balls off too before I lost to you, Nick.
Rolling on into January of 2020, Eminem would surprise release yet another project, his first since the beef nearly a year and a half earlier, Music to Be Murdered By. This album would sell 270,000 copies in its first week, earning Eminem his 10th consecutive studio album to chart at #1 on the Billboard 200, becoming the only artist in history to have 10 consecutive albums debut at #1. Godzilla, featuring Juice WRLD, the highest streamed song on the album, is currently certified triple platinum. On the song Unaccommodating from the album, Eminem speaks on the MGK beef, saying that the war is now over.
But when they ask me, is the war finished with MGK? Of course it is. I cleanse them of his mortal sins. I'm God and the Lord forgive.
In February of the same year, Eminem was invited to perform Lose Yourself for the 92nd Academy Awards.
His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already.
And by March, Music to Be Murdered By had already reached certified gold status. The album would then be thrust into platinum status with the release of the Godzilla music video, which currently has over 500 million views on YouTube. Many people tried to say that this was a cash grab from Eminem, being as Juice WRLD, the artist featured on the song, passed away just a few months prior to its release. However, it has been confirmed by Juice WRLD's photographer that he did indeed make this hook for Eminem for this particular song. In July of the same year, Eminem would feature on Kid Cudi's song Adventures of Moon Man and Slim Shady, speaking on the current racial issues in the US as well as the pandemic that seemed to have the world by the nutsack.
Now I'm in a fucking casket from you coughing.
And in September, Eminem would once again pop up on Big Sean's Friday Night Cypher.
But even if I would've went the indie route, I don't have any doubt.
To close out the year, in December of 2020, Eminem would yet again surprise release another album, his second of the year. The deluxe version of Music to Be Murdered By with 16 brand new tracks. This deluxe album would receive 80,000 first week sales and debut at #3 on the Billboard 200 as a deluxe album. Moving on into 2021, Eminem remained relatively quiet on the scene in the first half of the year, but appeared on a number of features in the second half of the year, including EPMD 2 with Nas,
It's like Christmas, you don't wanna make the claws come out. Y'all should call yourself Santa, 'cause none of y'all are real.
Walkthrough with Grip,
And come back vengefully to shoot them bullies who clowned you in elementary school.
Last One Standing with Skylar Grey, Polo G, and Mosey,
But all you see is the fame and the millions. You don't see the strength and resilience.
and last but not least, Gospel with Dr. Dre.
God's my alias, so if I don't have faith in me, then it basically makes me an atheist.
And to finish out the year in October, he was invited to perform alongside his longtime idol LL Cool J at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony.
Eminem. LL Cool J is hard as hell.
To begin 2022, he dropped a featured verse on Corday's song Parables, the remixed version.
That's the reason I'm in my Louis Vuitton. What am I?
And in February of the same year, he performed at the Super Bowl halftime show. Arguably one of the best halftime shows there's ever been, definitely top 5, with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and Anderson .Paak was also there banging on the drums.
One shot.
He would continue on the rest of the year to release The King and I with CeeLo Green for the Elvis movie soundtrack.
Lose weight, choose one missing a shoelace to it.
Finally released a song with Snoop Dogg called From the D to the LBC.
That's how I know that I'm in the studio with the doggy.
Put out Curtain Call 2, his second greatest hits compilation album. Oh, and not to mention, get inducted into the f***ing Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I realize what an honor it is right now for me to be up here tonight.
And as far as for 2023, he again remained silent for the first half of the year, but then featured on The Realest with his newly signed artist Easy Mill.
Like a meteor hit it, well, then went Melly Mel. We lost his asteroids.
And then finished the year with a feature for Juice WRLD's posthumous song Lace It.
I ain't lecturing you, but man, just be careful when you lace it.
In 2024, Eminem would randomly start the year by dissing Benzino and engaging in a battle with him that I'll talk a little bit more about at the end of the video, and it's very funny. And he would go on to release an album this year. The lead single, Houdini, currently has over 250 million views, paying lots of homage to his Without Me music video. It has recently become a platinum song, and it's actually my most recent video to hit 1 million views on my channel. But the album, The Death of Slim Shady, sold 289,000 first week sales, slightly beating out his previous album, Music to be Murdered By. It debuted at #1 on Billboard. It was his 11th consecutive #1 album, and it was the fastest selling rap album of the year at the time. Later on in the year, Kendrick, Tyler the Creator, and Travis Scott beat him out with their albums. The album is full of dozens of disses on people from Megan Thee Stallion to Caitlyn Jenner to P. Diddy, but one notable one that makes this all full circle is MGK again. Just when you think the beef is over and they're done talking about each other, it's not.
I gotta keep going Tyson on Kelly. I bodied him twice and already that little motherfucker's back throwing subs like a food fight at the deli.
So will we ever have a resolution with MGK and Eminem taking shots at each other? Probably not. I'd like to think one day they can squash it and potentially make a song together. I'd like to see what that would sound like, but I'm not holding my breath for that. M would finish out the year with a feature with LL Cool J on a song called Murdergram Do.
Unapologetic and we're gonna cause a headache, me and Ella about to set it.
2025 has been relatively quiet as far as new music goes. There is the feature that he did with JID called Animals Part 1, where he actually disses another old faux Ja Rule.
Go, this my house, a horse like a brothel. I done put Ja Rule through it like law school.
He also had a ton of old songs that were leaked to the media, including a crazy diss track on Suge Knight. The guy that released it all ended up getting jail time. And as of most recently, there is the Stans documentary that had a soundtrack with it. That included one new song called Everybody's Looking at Me, which was actually an older song. And that is the extent of the new music that we have got. But now, let's talk about all these diss tracks that have been happening. Before Rap Devil, especially in the 2010s leading up until its release, you basically had zero people going after Eminem on a song.
Eminem is Eminem. If you notice in hip hop, Eminem is the only rapper that nobody ever wants a problem with, including myself, man. Eminem is like the most lyrically insane. Even when I was going at 50 and me and Dre wasn't seeing eye to eye, man, I stayed away from the white dude.
Despite the hundreds of disses and name drops throughout the years, it basically seemed as if Eminem was untouchable. If he disses you, sit back and take it and move on. I even remember being a kid looking it up to see if anyone had thought about trying to diss Eminem because it just felt like an unfathomable concept. It's like challenging Jordan to a one-on-one, Tiger Woods to stroke play, John Jones to a UFC fight where you can use 90-degree elbows. It's just a can of whoop waiting to be unloaded with zero that you can do about it. But Rap Devil was like hitting a full court shot to get 3 points on Jordan, getting a hole-in-one to take a stroke away from Tiger, landing a takedown on John Jones to steal a round. And once people saw that and saw Eminem give attention to that, holy fuck, did it open a can of worms. All of a sudden, you had people coming out of the woodworks to take some shots of their own.
Just like in Eminem, we had a lot of people talking about, is Eminem a guest in the house of hip hop? You motherfucking right he is.
You slept with your adopted sis Kim and had a child and sucked your Uncle Ronnie's dick with a smile.
I'm kinda like an undertaker, you know I get it in. All I need is a shovel and a bitch named Eminem.
And I used to think Eminem was better than me.
So what you saying right now?
He's not.
Check your man, come and look at your friend, cause I think that Eminem is popping pills again.
Eminem, the great white hope, could be labeled as one of the top 10 rappers ever. I don't think so.
You don't think Eminem is one of the best rappers of all time?
No non-African can ever be the best of anything African.
Hillbilly, I will turn your daughter to a big brain. ZW in the war, no disclaimer.
The beef with Lord Jamar had already been brewing before Rap Devil, as seen as some shots in the Kamikaze album, but all Rap Devil did was bring this to the forefront of the conversation once again. I know that I specifically was even unaware of Lord Jamar's statements at the time because not a whole lot of attention had been given to it. But now with Rap Devil, you had a whole big nest of people flocking, searching this this new Eminem diss. And due to that, they get recommended these Lord Jamar interviews about Eminem being a white rapper and a guest in hip-hop.
Just like in Eminem, we had a lot of people talking about, is Eminem a guest in the house of hip-hop? You motherfucking right he is.
Then all of a sudden, some people hear this statement and agree with it, and now a whole new branch of opposition is formed from that specific angle. Honestly, the Eminem being a white rapper debate has always been an asterisk to his career for a lot of people, but it most certainly has hit its high point in these last 5 years, and as I just showed, Rap Devil acted as a fuel to this fire. Key point and example, just a few days after Rap Devil was released, Nick Cannon was on a podcast episode of Expeditiously with T.I., and it was there that he was asked about the beef that he had with Eminem a decade prior. Nick Cannon went on to then explain that he was ready to fight Eminem over the comments that he made about his ex-wife Mariah Carey. A decade prior!
It was a boxing. I was like, whatever he want to do, I'm with it. But if you've ever seen Marshall Mathers in person, he's not someone that looked like he really wants to smoke with most.
This obviously was not just a coincidence. This was purely released because Rap Devil had opened the floodgates. In response to this interview, Eminem threw some shots at his featured verse for Fat Joe's last album on a song called Lord Above that I mentioned earlier.
I let her chop my balls off too before I lost to you, Nick.
This would then create a domino effect, which I arguably think is the funniest thing that's happened out of all of this, because just a few days later, Nick Cannon would team up with the Wild 'N Out crew to release The Invitation, where Nick would reiterate disses that had been around for 20 years.
Call Kim, somebody get Haley.
After roughly 16 hours of no response, Nick Cannon and the Wild 'N Out crew grew angsty and would release another diss track called Pray For Him.
Damn, M, what you like 5 minutes away from 70?
Again, there was just some more redundant Eminem disses, but some of them were actually kind of nice.
Give Eminem 4s and knock him out at Jordan 7.
Later that day, Eminem would respond with a few tweets of his own, and that would be the end of it. Just kidding, obviously not.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
After 10 days of no actual diss response or an acceptance of this invitation, Nick Cannon would ride solo and rescind that invitation with the song cleverly titled The Invitation Canceled.
We let you be a guest in this house, but now you cancel.
This song is filled with Nick Cannon race baiting and attempting to cancel Eminem and just saying some really outlandish stuff.
You the KKK of this generation.
But at least this is where it would end. Just kidding, obviously not.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Even randomly at the end of 2023, Nick Cannon did this on Wild 'N Out 4 years later.
And all I need is a shovel and a bitch named Eminem.
Maybe one day I'll do some anniversary videos about this beef. It just sucks that it's literally 3 bad Nick Cannon diss tracks and 2 Eminem tweets. I have made a video on each of these 3 diss tracks that are hilarious, and I invite you to watch them when this video's over, and don't worry, I won't cancel the invitation like some people, but regardless of what you think about these diss tracks, the response to Rap Devil specifically was so eye-opening that it made people like Nick Cannon feel like he could rap against Eminem. That should say something. Over the following year of 2020, there would be some more Lord Jamar interviews about Eminem's album Music to Be Murdered By, where he said nobody is listening to that album, but then proceeds to quote the entire chorus about the 12th track on that album.
Hey, my step, oh, that shit rocks.
Even Snoop Dogg, of all people, would chime in saying that he doesn't think Eminem is a top 10 rapper of all time.
Eminem, the great white hope, could be labeled as one of the top 10 rappers ever. I don't think so.
Luckily and thankfully, Eminem and Snoop would squash this beef, which makes me happy because that was a very sad time for me. But again, all of this seemed to be coming out of nowhere. Or was this coming because there was this false sense of security that you can now talk about Eminem? In 2021, we randomly got one of the stupidest diss tracks of them all by a rapper named As Is, who used to be in a rap group called The Outsiders with Eminem back in the early 90s.
You slept with your adopted sis Kim and had a child and sucked your Uncle Ronnie's dick with a smile.
This track got 0 response and recognition from Eminem, and As Is had to resort to battling YouTube rappers as a last resort. But again, Rap Devil gave these rappers this false sense of security that they could just throw these disses out there and they'll get some sort of notoriety out of it. Excluding Snoop Dogg, obviously. His was more of a strong opinion that just seemed to happen in the middle of all this out of nowhere. You remember earlier in this video when I showed you a clip of this rapper, The Game, saying this about Eminem?
Eminem is Eminem. If you notice in hip-hop, Eminem is the only rapper that nobody ever wants a problem with, including myself, man. Eminem is like the most lyrically insane. Even when I was going at 50 and me and Dre wasn't seeing eye to eye, man, I stayed away from the white dude.
Well, in 2022, he would say this.
And I used to think Eminem was better than me.
So what you saying right now?
He's not.
You cannot tell me that Rap Devil did not have a direct correlation in this man thinking this way now. He would even go on to release Black Slim Shady to show everyone that he was indeed better than Eminem and would fail miserably at that, as depicted in this video of mine. Again, hilarious. But the worst part about all of this is that it was completely unwarranted. Eminem did not say a word about Snoop Dogg, As Is, or The Game, but the way the culture had shifted, their need to speak up became too overwhelming to hold it in. Even as recently as August of 2023, the first ever Rap Hall of Famer Melly Mel threw some shots at Eminem in this interview, again, circling back around to the Eminem not being in the top 10 rappers of all time because he's white.
But he's white. He's white.
Eminem would then respond to this interview with a small little shot on his song The Realest with his newly signed artist Easy Mill.
Like a meteor hit it, well, then went Melly Mel. We lost his asteroids.
And then Melly Mel would respond with a diss track of his own, really hyping it up as something dope, only for it to suck.
Check your man, come and look at your friend, cause I think that Eminem is popping pills again.
But in 2024, we had an explosion. To start off the year, we had some old enemies return. Ray Benzino. On January 26th, Doomsday Part 2 posted to Eminem's channel a solo song that he does for Cole Bennett in his Lyrical Lemonade project. The track is less than 2 minutes long, but over half of it is spent making fun of Benzino.
What is the opposite of Benzino? What? A giraffe.
2 days later, Ray Benzino would respond with his own track called Voltorious, which, well, not the best.
Yo, Eminem should be called Skittles, sweet ass motherfucker.
Candy ass Eminem, bitch ass feminine.
Outraged at the public's response to the track and Eminem's lack of response, just a few days later, Ray Benzino would drop Rap Elvis. And this, however, was met with overwhelmingly accusations of ghostwriting because it was so good that nobody believed he actually wrote it. And to this day, he claims that he did, but I believe everybody knows that somebody else wrote it. There were lots of rumors that Cassidy wrote it, but nothing has been confirmed.
You wasn't making any type of noise these days, so a choice was made. Clout chase Benzino and Corner Ray.
A couple of weeks go by, and Benzino, overwhelmed with emotion that Eminem has yet to respond, does an interview with Drink Champs where they endlessly talk about Eminem. So much to the point that Benzino ends up crying.
I don't got nothing against Eminem. I got nothing against Eminem. Eminem can rap, but I care about us more. I don't want to go through, I don't want to talk about it no more. I don't want. For 22 years, every time I do an interview, they ask me about Eminem.
Eminem would proceed to not acknowledge this man whatsoever.
He put this last album out and didn't dare mention my name. Didn't dare mention Benzino. After that ass kicking of Voltorious, and of course the legendary classic now, Rap Elvis, went to Detroit, inner city, went to Mom's Spaghetti, threw the meatballs all over the McHerb, disrespected him in every way, waxed his ass with Rap Elvis, and he came back with an album and didn't even mention the Z-Ster at all.
But just to show you how much the culture has turned, we even have YouTubers dissing Eminem now. Just a few months ago, Big Zoo, who people tell me is a chef, put this out.
There's no point in a rap battle, you'll just lose it. You was talking about little boys and just lose it.
This was in response to Skepta and Joyner talking about the USA versus UK rap beef and who was better, but the fact that people feel comfortable doing this now is the point that I'm trying to illustrate. All of these diss tracks that I've mentioned happened as a result of Rap Devil giving them this false sense of confidence that they can now go at Eminem. And as a result of that, they made Rap Devil sound way better. When Rap Devil was released, the majority of people viewed it as a pretty middle-of-the-road diss. It had some cool lines in it here and there, but it also had some weird beard lines.
His fucking beard is weird. His fucking beard is weird.
But the sample size that we had to compare it to was virtually non-existent, so we didn't know how an Eminem diss track was supposed to sound. But now that we have all these new diss tracks going at Eminem, Rap Devil has quickly surfaced as by far the best of these new diss tracks. And every time a new diss track is dropped, people search Eminem diss. And what happens? Rap Devil pops up at the top, only making the song bigger and bigger as the years go by and as more people diss Eminem. Again, the domino effect. So moving forward, I think we are done with the age of dedicated diss tracks by Eminem. I think we will continue to see him take little pop shots here and there like he has continued to prove over the last few years, but long gone are the kill shot days. Long gone are the responses to the Rap Devil. You'll just get pop shots from here on out. But that's all for this video. Please subscribe if you want to check out more videos like these. They take a very long time to create. I'm actually an artist myself. That is my primary occupation, so it would be dope if you checked out any of my music. There is something there that you would like, okay? There's something. All right, I make a lot of cool stuff. Massive shout out to my Patreon members that you guys see on the screen right here. They got this video early. Also, no ads or no interruptions, just straight video content. Helps me out a ton, and you get shout outs at the end of every single video like this. Shout out to Raid for sponsoring this video. Once again, scan the QR code on the screen to start playing for free. And shout out to all you lovely sons of for watching this video. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. What they talking about? Talking about? What they talking about? They talking about me. They talking about me. Tell me again about about how I fell off. Tell me again about how I need to hang it up.